One of the best feelings in the world, I would argue, is, oh, there's a better one. Oh, oh yeah. Hitting them with the big stick, man, that's fun. Gosh. Not a super big one, but that is a-okay. That's a good start. Get him back in here. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. That's what we're talking about. Got that thing choked. There we go. Another one. The old Magnum Rage bug. Gosh, it's a fun bite. Get this one back. Oh gosh. Oh, come here. Come here. Oh, oh, there we go. That's what we're talking about. Oh, it's a good one. Right in the top of the mouth. Perfect. Ooh, that is fun. Hook pop right back out. Gosh, we were doing hand-to-hand combat today, and it is a blast. We're in the heat of summer. The grass is to its fullest potential. It's spot lock here, so we kept moving around. And as I was saying, we're just flipping around. There was a Magnum Rage bug on there, just flipping around with the big stick, getting big bites like that. That is a blast. Let's get this one back. So today we are in the thick of it, literally. As you can see behind me here, we're fishing some thick emergent vegetation. We're in the middle of summer, everything's topped out, and this stuff is an absolute magnet for fish of all species, which is why the bass are in here. Just everything, it's just a lively area for lots of different reasons. Going through this, you can see typically around cane likes to grow in spots with hard bottom. So with that comes a lot of different things, typically, which means rock, gravel, stumps, you name it, it's all gonna be in there, which is why it holds fish so well. And it also provides really good shade. There's more to it than what you can see underneath the water. There's all kinds of stems and stuff you can see sticking out. So it provides super good structure for these fish. And it is a war getting them out. It's a blast, but you gotta have the right stuff to do it. So today I'm using a big flipping stick. This is a 7.6 heavy. I have big 50-pound braid on here because you really got to horse them out of it. I mean, this stuff, especially when you get a good one, you really got to reef on them to get them out and really trust your equipment. But it is a blast. And so with this type of fishing, like I was saying, the theme is heavy duty. What I'm using bait-wise here, you can really use any flipping bait of your choice, but I like to use a big profile. This is a Magnum Rage bug here. I really like a big bait that stands out because this stuff is so thick, and these fish, they have to hunt for it. I mean, you don't immediately catch them as soon as you flip. Sure, you'll land it on their head a couple times, but sometimes you really got to work that bait and sit there and just bounce it and bounce it and bounce it, and then they'll come in and thump it. But I like that big bait that really stands out in all this thick grass. That way they don't have to search super hard to find it. And it typically gets really big bites too when you use a bigger bait. So I'm using a fast gear ratio reel because when I set the hook, you got to horse them out of there quick. Like I said, big heavy braid, anywhere from 50 to 65-pound braid, and a big stick. This is a 7.6 heavy here. I like to go anywhere from 7.6 up to 8 foot, just because you really want that leverage to tear them out of there. Because with that, this hook, you have to match the hook to your bait as well. And I like to use a bigger gauge flipping hook. This one is a 5/0 flipping hook with a 5/8 ounce weight. And with that big hook, it makes a big hole in their mouth, which is good because you really stick them, but you can also lose fish if you're not careful. So you really just got to, as soon as you get bit, hammer that hook home and just start reefing them out and try and flip them in the boat as quick as possible, because otherwise you can sometimes lose fish. But when you have the right equipment, you get them in the boat. So whether you're fishing hyacinth mats, thick matted up vegetation, cane, reeds, whatever it is that's a big expansive area like we're fishing here today, it can be a little bit intimidating at first just because there's so much potential water in areas that you can get bit. But there are a few key things to really remember when you're doing this type of fishing to help you get a few more bites and really help you key in and be confident on what you're fishing and what to look for. So a few things that really stand out are definitely the little points. A lot of this is really just has a bunch of different turns to it, and those little kickouts can really be key high percentage areas that hold fish just because it's obvious structure and it stands out and it looks really well. Along with that is up in the grass. Up in here, as you can see, there's holes and pockets, and typically what that means is that there's something down there that's preventing the grass from growing up. Whether that's a rock, a stump, just really hard bottom, whatever that may be, it's creating a nice hole right there. And that is just a magnet for those bass. They just love that open area where they can easily just attack stuff. They can just sit there and sun themselves and then hop in the shade. So those are really just key areas that really hold bass. And sometimes those areas can be a little bit hard to get to. And so you can't be afraid to get up in it like I'm doing here right now, which is nice because at first you might think, you might spook them. So first what I'll do is I'll kind of fish the outside of where I want to get into the mats. And after I make sure that there's no fish around on the outside of the area, I'll like to just bomb myself right up in here like we are right now and even just get the boat stuck. And that allows you to really just focus and hit those key little pockets and whatever stands out to you. And with this, I'm not making super big flips just because, like I was saying, you put a big hole in their mouth and this is thick cover, so I got to get them in the boat. So I'm just making short 10, 15 foot max casts, not even cast flips. You want the bait to be as vertical as possible because although that straight shank hook really does hook them good, having that bait as vertical as possible really helps you just get a solid hook into them. And plus, when your line is not all wrapped up in this stuff, you can just wrench them straight up and out with that long rod, that heavy line, and get them in the boat. And with the short flips, in this heavy stuff, you really don't have to worry as much about spooking the fish. Especially on a day like today, we have a little bit of wind here. So that helps my cause with the noise of it too, but it's just so thick that I can really just get right up in here, and I really feel that it just camouflages you from those bass. Don't be afraid to just bomb yourself up in there, flip around with that big stick and reef them out of here. So along with the key areas to look for, also things that really hold bass well are spots where you can see, like right here where you're gonna mix a vegetation. Like right here we have a good spot of pads, reeds, along with a thick clump of this cane. And that type of area is just another key highway for bass. It's just like deep transition lines where you have a nice rock to sand transition out deep. It holds fish, and that's the same up here. It's the same concept. So those are also key areas to really look for. So one thing to pay attention to when you're flipping this emergent vegetation is the cadence and style of your bait. Although there are some days where it seems like you're just landing on one's head every time, there definitely are days where you have to work your bait a very certain way to get bit. So one thing I like to do is I like to flip it in there, let my bait fall to bottom, and usually what I'll do is just feel it out, do a couple good pops, and then I'll try to switch it up. And sometimes it can be different. Sometimes they want that bait just shaking it like that. Sometimes they want it popped. Some days you just gotta let it just lay there and just dead stick the thing. But it seems to always be a little bit different. And with that, when I'm really up in there and I'm flipping these little holes and stuff, one thing I like to do is after I fish a pocket to where I think is its fullest potential, I'll try to just pull that bait and just pull it into another pocket. Just that way it's as natural as possible. Just looks like something falling and dying down into the hole. And it really helps you be more efficient. Less flips, just have more time of your bait in the water and more time to get bit. So I just like to do that little trick too. Here, he's hanging on here. Oh. Get up in here. Gosh, that is a blast. Right in the top of the mouth. Up in the thick stuff. Can't beat it, man. Gosh, that's fun. Let's get him back.